All right, so the Epstein stuff is not going away, despite the fact that they keep trying as hard as they do, which I just did go through a little diatribe about how I'm a little worried that they are making ground and making people forget about it because some of the more normie people in my life have kind of gone like, oh, are we still talking about this? It's like, oh, God. Oh, God. Now it's like they're doing exactly what Trump wants with that one. But there was a huge drop today, and despite the fact that you have some even on the left kind of going like, this isn't as big as everybody was saying it is, this doesn't prove that Donald Trump was part of the list, which, again, we're still on that one. It's like, just release the list. I don't care if he's on it. I don't, but he's hiding something. He's doing this for reasons that are not beneficial to anybody in the United States besides like one or two people that deserve to be put away. So let's not mince words on this one. He's protecting pedos, plain and simple. And this whole text exchange kind of proves it.
This is CNN Breaking News.
All right, we do have breaking news in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, minutes ago, literally, releasing emails that they say were written by Jeffrey Epstein that explicitly, specifically mention Donald Trump by name and in context that we really haven't heard before. Let's get right to Caitlin Collins, who's got this reporting. Caitlin, what are you learning?
Yeah, John, these are emails that show Jeffrey Epstein mentioning Donald Trump by name multiple times in private correspondence that he had with people, including Ghislaine Maxwell, obviously his longtime associate and accomplice, and also the author Michael Wolff, in a time span of about the last 15 years or so in these emails.
Did you see that Michael Wolff was reached out for comment, and he literally is just no comment. I cannot comment on this right now. So
from the House
it's always a
great, they had issued a
great way to handle a scandal like this.
Epstein's estate, John, as you know, earlier this year, and so they've gotten their hands on a trove of documents, and these are emails that included Jeffrey Epstein on them. They were sent either to him or from him that mentioned Donald Trump before he was in office and also while he was in office during his first term. And I want to walk you through these emails of what exactly we are reading in Jeffrey Epstein's own words in these emails that have been released by the House Oversight Committee. And in one of them, Jeffrey Epstein says, and I should note, Trump did not send or receive any of these messages. He's not a party to these emails, John, but these are emails from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. This is one from April 2nd, 2011. And in this email, Jeffrey Epstein writes to Ghislaine Maxwell and says, quote, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. There's a name that's redacted, which the House Oversight Committee has said is a victim of Jeffrey Epstein's. Obviously, we have not been able to independently confirm that because her name is redacted.
Oh, yeah. If the red-pilled farmers actually realize it's their daughters that are getting pimped for the people they vote for, oh, absolutely.
From this email. But they say
they're missing all of that.
Spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Ghislaine Maxwell responds to that email, John, and says, quote, I have been thinking about that. Now, there's no context for that message in this release of what we're getting. Obviously, this was a time span, and this was about 3 years after Jeffrey Epstein had accepted what is now known as that sweetheart deal that only got him a few months in prison, and something that came under a ton of scrutiny during Donald Trump's first term in office because of his then Labor Secretary, Alex Acosta, who helped negotiate that plea deal.
The totally up, on the up and up Alexander Acosta.
Sweetheart deal for Jeffrey Epstein at the time. And so that's the context of this came about 3 years after he had negotiated that plea deal, John. And there's also other emails that have been released by the committee this morning, including between Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff. People will remember Michael Wolff, of course, the author who wrote a book on the inner workings of Trump's West Wing back in 2018 during his first term. He is someone who has talked at length about his own correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein, published audio recordings of those conversations between the two of them. And in another email, and this seems to be a reference to Donald Trump saying that he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club, and Jeffrey Epstein writes to Michael Wolff and says, quote, Trump said he asked me to resign. And he adds, John, never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to.
Ooh. Dude, okay. This adds a layer too that nobody's mentioning, that it is like this was after the whole falling out part. So this is him literally saying like, hey, you know what? All right, he wants to play those games, then he might want to remember some of the shady shit that he's done that we have some evidence on. I mean, does he want to play this game? Like, does he? Oh, damn it.
To stop. Now, again, we don't have the context of this email, but John, that comes as in recent months, we've heard President Trump himself and the White House say that Jeffrey Epstein was kicked out of Mar-a-Lago for being a creep. And Trump himself told reporters on Air Force One that he was trying to poach women, he and Ghislaine Maxwell, from the Mar-a-Lago spa. And that was why they had such a...
Just got a text from Cat's campaign. Let's see. All right. Today, I showed up in court for my arraignment and pleaded not guilty to the trumped-up, politically motivated charges against me 2 weeks ago. 5 others and I were charged by Donald Trump and the federal government for exercising our First Amendment rights near ICE's Broadview Processing Center. The indictment was scary, but showed up to court to face these baseless charges makes these attacks feel even more real. Because I will keep standing up because ICE continues to harass our communities and detain our neighbors. We know this is wrong, and we need to use our constitutionally protected rights to stop it. More now than ever, we need to stand up against authoritarianism and speak out in favor of free speech. I won't stop fighting, but I need your help to mount this enormous legal fight. Please, can you join our team and contribute $9? That's a little bit different than the $2 standard donation they ask for.
Falling out, and why he ultimately asked Jeffrey Epstein.
Candid lithograph. Damn, I'm 90 minutes late. It's okay.
To leave the Mar-a-Lago club. Now, there's also a third email in here, John, and this is, again, in regards to Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff. And Michael Wolff emails Jeffrey Epstein, and this is back in December 15th, 2015, so the height of the 2016 campaign, just to put that in perspective for you. And it was the day of a CNN Republican primary debate. And Michael Wolff says, quote, I hear that CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in a scrum afterwards. And Epstein wrote, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Michael Wolff responded at length, John. I'll summarize it, but he said in regards to Trump, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Now, I'll note, John, we looked at the transcript of that CNN debate from December 2015. There's no mention of Jeffrey Epstein in there. And of course, as I mentioned, Donald Trump himself is not a party to these emails. But what this shows is Jeffrey Epstein mentioning Donald Trump by name multiple times at a moment here in Washington when their relationship has come under incredibly intense scrutiny, John.
Caitlin, as you mentioned multiple times, we just don't have the context surrounding any of these emails. But that first email you read, the language absolutely jumps out to me. This is April 2nd, 2011. Epstein writes to Ghislaine Maxwell, I want you to realize the dog that hasn't barked is Trump, blank. And blank here is one of the alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein. A victim spent hours at my house with him being Trump. He has never once been mentioned. Now, again,
I'm 70%, 75% there.
Don't have the context surrounding that, Caitlin, but this kind of language from Jeffrey Epstein himself.
God damn, dude, just listening to his tone. Listen to the way he's kind of trying to be like, well, yeah, this is interesting because, you know, it's kind of like he's being very vague about it. So we can't really take him at his word, right?
How often has Donald Trump, what has Donald Trump said about contact he may have had or time he may have allegedly spent with some of Epstein's alleged victims?
Yeah, and John, just to be clear, the woman, the person whose name is redacted here was redacted by the House Oversight Committee before they put this out. That has been a huge point of focus as people have demanded the release of these documents, is to be able to protect the survivors and the victims. We have not been able to independently verify who this person is. The committee is the one doing the redacting here. But obviously he is referencing someone who Jeffrey Epstein says in this email from 2011 that spent time with Donald Trump at his house. And so we've asked the White House for comment on this morning. Obviously, these are emails that predate his time in office this term. They span about 15 years, this correspondence that's being released. And Trump has denied that he knew anything about what Jeffrey Epstein was doing and the sex trafficking of young women. And he said that he wasn't aware of that at the time. And obviously, Trump himself has not been accused of any wrongdoing. It's very important that we make that clear here, John. But of course, the question has been when it comes to regards to the Justice Department and what they've released about what they know. And Adelita Grijalva is being sworn in today. She's the new House Democrat from Arizona, and she's expected to be that 218th signature. And so the pressure has been building on not just Democrats, but Republicans here in Washington to release more information about what the Justice Department has. And so looking at that email, obviously, will likely only increase that pressure to do so. And you're right, John, we don't know the context of that. But obviously you can read Jeffrey Epstein's words in and of itself and take away, obviously, what you will from that.
Oh, yeah. It begs many questions to be asked, perhaps to the president or the White House. You've already put this to them.
Really? Are you actually going to do so? Or are you guys going to do this thing where... Excuse me. You pretend that you actually are going to ask the question, then you let 4 other reporters go ask their fucking little, softball questions, and then let him just do his thing where he's like, who you with?
Much
You guys are still talking about this? Come on.
more on this ahead. Caitlin Collins,
And
thank
can I
you
say,
so
John,
much. Oh, please.
I just want to say, because obviously, we're breaking this morning. We did get a comment from Michael Wolff himself on this. I reached out to him to ask for any context on these emails, for anything from him. And he said, quote, I don't quite remember the context, but he says, I was engaged then in an in-depth conversation with Epstein about his relationship with Trump, and this seems to be part of that conversation. We have not yet gotten a comment from the White House. Obviously, they were going through these emails themselves this morning, and we will let you know what they have to say about it and what the president himself has to say about it.
It's so weird because you would think that they knew about this.
All right, all of this developing before our very eyes. Caitlin Collins breaking this for us this morning. These emails, which we haven't seen before, where Jeffrey Epstein explicitly mentions Donald Trump by name over the years in different circumstances.
All right. What to know about today's Jeffrey Epstein developments? Epstein emails. House Oversight Committee Democrats released emails from the latest convicted S offender, Jeffrey Epstein, to his co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell and journalist Michael Wolff. In one, Epstein claimed Trump knew about the girls, apparently referring to Epstein's conduct. GOP release. House Republicans followed the Democrats' release with their own 20,000 pages of documents they said they obtained from the Epstein estate during their investigation into the case. White House response. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, where I'll watch that in a minute, accused House Democrats of selectively leaking emails to the media. Okay, it's out of context. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. I'm so sick of this. I am so sick of this. I'm not as fucking stupid as you think I am to where you guys can constantly say, you're taking this out of context. You know what? There's nothing bad there. But, this Democrat once had a tweet, and we're just going to just select the bottom half of that, a la Hassan, the way that they were doing that to him. Come on. Fucking assholes. I'm so sick of this. Bad faith efforts to distract from president's accomplishments. I mean, how... This isn't going to... You know what? Maybe it is. Maybe this is going to work. Because this is where I'm throwing my hands up. We are in round 4 of this. It is almost... The year is almost up. You realize that we started this in May. Grijalva swearing in is scheduled to be sworn in today, giving Democrats the 218th vote signature. They need to force a House vote on whether to order the Justice Department to release all the Epstein case files. All right, let's see how Emily is reacting to this, since we have been on a breaking points kick.
Seeing Ghislaine Maxwell and author Michael Wolff that offer more insight into Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. We can go through some of these emails. We're going to put them up on the screen. My goodness. So first...
My goodness. Again, the fact that you have people like her that are even just like, yeah, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Of all, 2011.
Like if this was a Democrat, because we all know how Democrats eat their own, right? and this isn't a left eat their own kind of criticism. This is just facts. Where look at the way they handled what's his face back in the day. Oh my God, he was the dude from SNL. But yeah, Al Franken. They want to virtue signal all the time, and they're just like, we don't allow, we don't want any of this rigmarole. But then simultaneously make feckless fucking cases for this type of shit where they cannot muster outrage for people to genuinely give a shit. It's almost like you can read their energy, and it's almost like it's all disingenuous where only a few people genuinely care about this shit.
You have Jeffrey Epstein emailing Ghislaine Maxwell saying, I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump, redacted victim's name, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned, police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Maxwell responded again, this is 2011, April 2011, I have been thinking about that, ... Another set of emails here. Fast forward to 2015.
Dude, these are damning.
This is Jeffrey Epstein, December of 2015. CNN is hosting a primary debate for Republicans as Donald Trump is.
Earl Grey and a nice J. Earl Grey and a J. I like it.
Completely rocketing up in the polls.
Good mix.
I hear CNN, Michael Wolff writes to Epstein, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in scrum afterwards. I want to just pause there, by the way, for a moment. This is Michael Wolff pulling a little bit of a Donna Brazile, like tipping off Jeffrey Epstein to something in the gossip, in the milieu surrounding Michael Wolff about a question in a presidential debate. Epstein replies, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? So basically, Wolff and Epstein are trying to preemptively give Donald Trump a little something to work with that might be beneficial to them in the long run. Here is Wolff, who styles himself as a journalist who is critical of Donald Trump. And
I mean, at this point, I genuinely think that Donald Trump had something to do with Epstein's demise.
Is something of a Crystal? Do you have any thoughts on this Wolff part of it all?
All of this conspiracy stuff and the fact that somehow we're just circling around that little bit there, and they're just like, yeah, Biden, Obama, and it's like, wait, no, he was president for damn near 2.5 years at that point. Shut up. No, it makes more sense that he knew that he had some shit on him and that he was about to fucking start spewing.
Because it's making me so mad that I can't even really speak to see these emails. It's not
because I mean, Pepperidge Farm remembers when right before that, before he, Epsteined himself allegedly, Epstein was out there saying how it's just like, oh, I'm going to appeal this. He lost his appeal. And then he kind of insinuated like, oh, okay, well, if I lose this, then I got some stuff that I want to say.
Not surprising in any way whatsoever, but to see how involved he was and then to watch him try to claim the moral high ground as like an Instagram, TikTok celebrity is deeply, deeply irritating.
Well, I think you see.
Yeah. And you should be fucking mad about that because these are the people that you caucus with, Emily. And I hope that you, Crystal, remind her of that.
A window into his.
You need to get better. Like, I get that you have to work with these people, but occasionally, can you hold their feet to the fire and just be like, how are you defending this? How do you guys consistently mince your thoughts to just kind of negate the fact that these people are horrible people, and then you just bring it back to, well, I like their tax policies.
His methods in particular, where, I mean, this is part of how he in the first Trump White House apparently was a fixture, like just hanging out there all the time. Right. And clearly he gives people the sense of like, I'm on your side, I'm giving you advice, like we're in this thing together. And then that's how he ingratiates himself to wealthy, powerful, or in the case of, Jeffrey Epstein, wealthy, powerful, and notorious people, and is able to write about it. And Michael Wolff has been, out there talking about, hey, I've seen pictures of Donald Trump with girls of uncertain age. Here's what Epstein told me about Trump.
Oh, we're gonna watch another video from one of our new favorite channels, by the way, Channel 100 with Evie. The Right's Vile Obsession with Beauty Queens Explained. That's coming up soon.
He also claimed that Epstein had a lot of insider knowledge into Trump's first administration, so still had a lot of connectivity there.
Also, the fact that she's wearing a Slipknot shirt and that is...
In any case, with regard to this, this question about he might get asked a debate question about this, CNN did not ask him about Epstein at that debate. Probably would have been a good question to ask him, but that didn't get asked at that debate or in the scrum. And then do you have the other email, Emily, where they're talking about Trump spending hours with one of the victims?
Yes. So this is from 2019.
You like Channel 5?
From
she's Channel 100.
Jeffrey Epstein to Michael Wolff.
I'll be honest. I don't like Andrew Callahan.
Says victim name redacted. Mar-a-Lago.
I don't. I think that he. I know that there's room for redemption on some of that, but after reading the allegations of him, his just wait and see type of apology, and like he kind of even did like, yeah, I might have done this, and then now everybody's doing the thing where they're just like, he might, he did some shady shit, but he's got some good takes on YouTube. It's like, I don't care. He's still a piece of shit, and honestly, I just don't like his content.
Redacted.
I don't like his face. I don't like the way that he structures his shit. Yeah, sorry guys.
Said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls. He asked Ghislaine to stop. And this is after, by the way, back in 2015.
It's almost like I'm consistent, and once I hear somebody have some pretty credible accusations against them, like a certain sex pestiny, then I'm not one to just be like, nah, it seems like that was a bit of a smear.
Wolf emailed the advice from Michael Wolff to Jeffrey Epstein.
I like how it was believe all women until it's somebody that you like.
About potentially crafting a response to hand Donald Trump was, I think you should let him hang himself if he says he hasn't been on the plane.
The guy also comes off like a bro piece of shit in certain, like if you watch the Shane Gillis interview, it immediately did it for me where I was just like, oh, this fucking pick me.
Gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him. Generating a...
Honestly, all I heard about it was on a pod, and it was only his side of it. Well, I do know that, I think it was Swoop. I'll link it in the Discord. Again, you have to join the Discord. I'm saying right now, you really should. It's a great community, but it gives me an opportunity to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, listen to the full story in the context of like the accusations, and it's bad.
Interesting line right there. Of course, Wolf.
The fact is, he admitted it.
Continues, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. Now,
I'll put it this way. If I found out that Hassan pulled some shady shit or was like creepy with a bunch of content, like female content creators, yeah, I would do the same thing.
When he says, of course,
it's not cool. Honestly, it's almost like we have this thing where it's like we subconsciously go, oh, but they have a platform, they are famous, it's they're gonna be up to some stuff,
Knew about the girls. This is from Jeffrey Epstein. He asked Ghislaine to stop. That is in the strangest way ever confirmation
your way around Discord.
What Donald Trump has said, which is also in the strangest way ever confirmation that he clearly knew, as he alluded to in media reports before he was president, before Epstein became such a mythical figure. Trump said Jeffrey likes him on the younger side. He said recently, I think he was on Air Force One within just the last few months, saying, yeah, that they were stealing girls from Mar-a-Lago, which is exactly what happened to Virginia Giuffre, who was working at Mar-a-Lago, was poached by Ghislaine Maxwell at Mar-a-Lago. So these emails, again, these are ones released by the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee. As the government shutdown ends, Mike Johnson is going to face enormous pressure to bring an Epstein vote to the floor. There may even be a discharge petition that goes around Mike Johnson to bring some of this to the floor. So, Crystal, no surprise that we are starting to see these as the government looks poised to reopen, hopefully forcing a vote.
Yeah, and Trump even got asked specifically, when you're talking about they were stealing girls from Mar-a-Lago, are you talking about Virginia Giuffre? And he said something to the effect of, yeah, I think I am. I think that I am talking about her. And so it is strange the way that their two stories, in a sense, confirm each other. Because Jeffrey says, of course he knew, because we were taking girls from there. And he told Ghislaine to stop. So he knew exactly what was going on. And then you add to that the color of he spent hours with a victim, and then him pondering, like, why isn't Donald Trump getting mentioned in all of the coverage surrounding me? And I mean, that would be a sort of head scratching thing, given how close we know that their lives were intertwined for years and years, where, again, according to Michael Wolff and Jeffrey Epstein and Trump were besties. They were super close. They were hanging out in New York City. They were hanging out down in Palm Beach, both living this sort of high flying lifestyle, both of them loving women, in Epstein's case, girls. And so, these helped to fill in some of that portrait. And yesterday, Sagar and I covered the unbelievable special treatment that Ghislaine Maxwell is getting in her club fed prison. First of all, she's not even supposed to be in this club fed prison because she's a sex offender. That's number one. Number two, they're providing her with extraordinary perks, what they described as concierge service. One of the prison officials said, I'm tired of being Ghislaine Maxwell's bitch because she got a freaking puppy. She gets special meals. She gets to go to the exercise area when no one else is there. She gets to have these long meetings where people bring in computers so she can communicate with the outside world in whatever kind of way she wants. Oh, and lo and behold, she's filling out her application for a presidential commutation. Gee, why is she getting such special treatment? I wonder. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out. Trump is afraid of what she has on him, what she would say about him. And so he is directing his administration to make sure you keep Ghislaine happy. Do what you need. And every time that he gets asked about a potential partner commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell, he demurs. He will not say one way or another whether he would consider that because, you know, as soon as she got moved to Club Fed and started getting this cushy treatment, well, that's when the leaks to the Wall Street Journal and other places about the birthday book and other things, that's when those leaks stopped. So again, put two and two together, you can likely see, okay, those initial leaks were kind of a shot across the bow. Like, hey, here's a little taste of what I might have, what I might be able to say about you. And again, given their long history together and the
I just linked the NPR article about the Andrew Callahan thing.
Incredibly guilty and bizarre way that the Trump administration has acted.
I remember this much. He claimed that he had psilocybin use disorder or something, where essentially he said he took too many shrooms, and yeah, his brain got mixed up, and that it caused him to go and hit on 13-year-old girls on TikTok.
Acted around the Epstein files. You know, I don't think anyone should be surprised that some of this is coming out. And Emily,
you know, that thing that you do when you're tripping.
Refused to swear in Adelita Grijalva for almost 2 months, 7 full weeks. They refused to swear this lady in, meaning that district has no representation whatsoever in Congress.
Oh yeah, you didn't see. This is the thing. I don't appreciate people that, like, the left is very good at this, where they will go and they will attack people based on, you know, just way lesser accusations, and they will cancel people for that. But again, because it was Andrew Callahan, and because he had done so much content that they had already, like, that they platformed on their streams or whatever the fuck, they turned a blind eye to that one, and it bothered the shit out of me because his explanation was horseshit.
Just so they would not have another vote on that Epstein.
I didn't realize I had this big of an opinion on this, but I do.
Discharge petition.
So,
Mike Johnson.
Here we are.
Shut down the entire House and ended the session.
So again, sorry if you guys like Andrew Callahan, but you need to really, like, do your research. And I just linked the NPR article, and we'll watch a few videos on this because I'm not going to be as charitable with this one. The accusations were bad. He did come out and say that he did these things because he knew he couldn't escape them, and then he blamed taking too many fucking LSD dash fucking psilocybin.
That vote previously.
Okay.
You know, and the way that this has, you know, really undercut their reputation is, oh, we're outsiders, we're going to shine a light on the truth here.
I'm pretty sure that if your friend had that explanation, you wouldn't give them the time of day. Damn, I know who's getting an unsub tonight. Jesus. Okay, thank you.
He is very
I don't try to do this where I police people's media consumption, but no, that one, again, the fact that he escaped that, and here we are with Destiny wondering the same thing, like, how come Destiny, even with the accusations, even though he is, like, because somebody even tried to say, like, oh, there's not enough evidence from what's her name, the oh my god, the streamer girl that had the accusation that he was sharing her nude photos, but they're saying that she didn't present some evidence in some case, and, like, that was enough for everybody to just be like, no, that means he didn't do it. It's like, but the evidence was also presented online. Court of public opinion is a thing.
Concerned about what.
Not everything needs to be, like, completely litigated for you to just go, yeah, he's kind of a piece of shit, because Destiny has kind of gone out of his way to let us know that he is kind of a piece of shit.
Could potentially come out.
Especially when it comes to sexualizing anybody, young women and men. Like, he's a fucking predator.
And be contained in emails, in government records, in FBI searches.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Whatever sort of material they were able to obtain. CIA, Ryan and Dropsite have been doing, and Murtaza Hussein have been doing the only reporting, by the way, and extraordinary reporting, confirming that Jeffrey Epstein, yes, in fact, was an Israeli intelligence asset. So surely the CIA would have a lot to say about this guy as well. And the Republicans, led by Trump and Mike Johnson, have gone to extraordinary lengths to try to keep any of this from becoming public.
So
the fact is, though, they're doing it in a way where people like Emily have completely just given up on pushing their side to do something about it. You do realize that it's not up to us to like the Kyle Kalinskis, the crystal balls even. It's Emily, Sagar, the people who are the ones that are perceived on being the right of center, they need to start giving a shit a little bit more about this stuff and holding their feet to the fire. Otherwise, they're gonna constantly push the same bullshit narratives and just be like, there's nothing to see here, nothing to see here. You'll forget about this in about a month. And they're fucking right every time.
Wondering, actually, if the House Oversight Committee got these emails from Michael Wolff. I think that seems to be the most likely case. It's potentially could have come from Ghislaine Maxwell, who was meeting with, obviously, Deputy AG Todd Blanche over the last several months. That's certainly possible as well. Johnson is set to swear in Adalita Gralva today. And that's the vote they need for the discharge petition, which Thomas Massie, I believe Marjorie Taylor Greene, among other Republicans or among the Republican conference, support. So that gets them around Mike Johnson to a vote demanding a release of all of the Epstein files. And so the House Oversight Committee had that conversation back and forth with Alex Acosta, former Labor Secretary nominee who dropped out because of Vicky Ward's reporting and other information surrounding the sweetheart deal in Florida that happened under his watch regarding Epstein. And the House Oversight Committee asked, about that Vicky Ward quote from an anonymous source, many people speculate to be Steve Bannon, that Acosta says he was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave him alone. Acosta denied basically that in spirit, but he wasn't really, there are a lot of other ways.
Well, the fact that the sweetheart deal from Acosta and like the whole suspicious money trail that also kind of led to him failing upwards and becoming part of the Trump administration. No, guys, it's just all coinky-dinks, please.
So that question could have been posed
fucking A, man.
To get around the
And then you had QAnon out there. I think that QAnon was also part of the psyop where they knew, like, had any of this shit come out to the, normie press,
technicalities of whether Epstein.
Most people would have freaked out a lot more, but now that you have the QAnon aspect, nobody wants to be associated with that kind of conspiracy line of thinking. So they're just like, listen, I'm not QAnon or anything, but this is a little sus.
Was an asset or an agent and who told him what, that the House Oversight Committee just did not get to the bottom of in that interview, at least according to the transcript of it that we have. So, Crystal, this story to see in writing from Jeffrey Epstein, that Trump has never once been mentioned by police chief, etc.
But this is still not enough. This is still not enough. What are you talking about? This isn't enough evidence. What are you talking about? Meanwhile, we have no evidence about fucking Biden and Burisma, but we still hear about that constantly. It's the fucking way they message. Can we get on this shit?
Etc. I don't know what Epstein means when he says I'm 75% there, but it sounds like maybe he's speculating that Trump is cooperating with an investigation.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know what that 75% there piece meant, but I just want to underscore for people why this matters. Ryan and Maz's reporting has proven the deep ties that Epstein did, in fact, have with the Israeli government and Israeli intelligence specifically. You can go and read their...
How am I going to spin this one so I don't seem like I've always been on the wrong side of history? Well, you know what? I'll just hope this goes away.
Numerous stories at this point.
Fuck
based
you.
On the
like, seriously.
Of the former Israeli prime ministers.
And honestly, Crystal, fuck you for not challenging them more. Like, I'm getting tired of it. The more I watch Breaking Points, the more I'm starting to realize how much Crystal is part of the problem.
Emails, which also worth noting, as we always do, any mainstream outlet could have looked at these emails and reported them out. They're all sitting out there for anyone to report on. They are the only ones who have. Put that aside. So you're the president of the United States. And whatever things you did or, you're worried that Jeffrey Epstein knows about, you have to assume that the Israelis know about as well. You have to assume that, right? And so what kind of pressure does that create in your relationship? How does that impact your foreign policy and the way you conduct yourself vis-a-vis this state? That's one of the most obvious reasons why this reporting and getting to the bottom of this is so incredibly, incredibly important. Because even if...
Okay, how much more reporting do we need? How much more evidence do we need? You do realize if this was anybody else, I don't care if they're in government or just a public figure, they would be just publicly bashed. They would be hidden away from all public eye and not be part of the fucking, like the president. They wouldn't be the president and like the whole fucking cabinet.
Jeffrey Epstein, you know,
Jesus.
there's all sorts of reports about
I mean, it's so obvious at this point that, again, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, all these sycophantic assholes that are constantly lying and going and doing things that are just blatantly in favor of protecting this asshole. And he's not even good at lying anymore. He's just not. He's doing the most basic, like, what do you mean? I didn't do a poopy on the floor. I didn't do the poopy. Well, Donnie, you're the only one here. I didn't do the poopy.
the cameras he had and the sort of documentation he kept. Even if he didn't actually have the goods on whatever
Accountability is spelled with a release the fucking
it
files.
is that Trump is terrified of coming out about him. And clearly there are things he is terrified
Well, it's almost like, I don't know, Republican people, like, seriously, this does go down to the fact that the Republican politicians do not fear their constituents.
of coming.
That means the constituents genuinely don't care. They are banking on the fact that these people are so fucking in the pipeline for Donald Trump, and they have already given way too much of themselves to MAGA that they will back out. So they're just like, yeah, you know what? We're safe.
Coming out about him. Even if Epstein didn't have the goods, you have to
The
assume
syphilis melted his brain. I actually heard the theory that he does have that, and I was like, that kind of
that
tracks.
he did. And you have to assume
After watching Frankenstein.
that he was sharing that information with his very close friends, allies, business partners in the Israeli government. So, I mean, that is extraordinary
Did she say vis-a-vis?
and incredibly important for the American people to know and understand.
Yeah, I think that's so important because when people say, or I think, Trump and then some Republicans who rush to defend Trump, and it happened with Democrats under the Biden administration, say this is a silly sideshow. It's not in the question of foreign policy, right?
Well, then maybe, just maybe, you could pressure the people that that view you as somebody that caucuses with them and pressure them a little bit on their bullshit. But instead, you do that. Like, this is what I don't like about breaking points is they're in the safe zone of just being able to bounce back and forth on each other and never actually have to challenge their base.
People have important questions on their plate
Or face challenges from their base.
every single day about cost of living and just trying to put food on the table,
I don't know. Personally, I'm actually getting a little tired of this show.
keep a job, all of that. Yes, our foreign policy is,
I think I did this with
downstream
Rising,
of
too.
the shadow government in many ways that we aren't quite aware of. And that sounds crazy, but go ahead, read the emails that the mainstream media probably isn't covering because they don't want to go into what looks like a hack from Iran, but one that Ryan and Maz are confirming is verifiable by talking to people saying, is this these emails, this is you in this email, is this a real email, et cetera. So when you see it put so plainly in those drop site stories, Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak were puppet masters, and they were doing it, putting it in writing. We have that evidence for everybody to see. They were actually pulling the strings of geopolitics and foreign policy, willing and dealing in their punctuation error laden emails, which Ryan says is a power move. I'm not so sure that I agree it's a power move. It may just reflect actual incompetence, and that is remarkable.
I was about to say, how is stupidity amongst the rich always a power move?
When you look at it, because you see how few people have such disproportionate
Yeah,
control
I'm glad that you
over
called that out because
foreign policy
fucking
affects
true.
domestic policy. So these are enormously serious questions, and I think Epstein is an example of something that.
Okay, then ask Mike Johnson and watch him do the same thing that he's been doing since day one here, and then you guys just accept that as the norm.
Is still happening right now with other names that we just don't know.
And I think that Trump and the Republicans had hoped they had kind of put this.
I live in a right in the middle of a very red state, and finally it appears the tides might be shifting. It took long enough, but better late than never, I guess. But yeah, Mitchell, it seems like, again, the mixture of the bad economy, the fact that he can't just go out there and say, what do you mean? Affordability's great. Everything's great. Inflation 2%, even though I'm pulling that number completely out of my ass, and it's actually 3%, which in the terms of inflation, that matters a lot.
Story to bed, it was.
Eggs are back down. No, they're not.
So quiet there for a.
If they're back down, then I guess you're just admitting that we did this thing where we just inflated, inflated the price of everything, and then you just settled at that new inflated price, and you're like, that's the new price.
While we're not getting any
Inflation.
new leaks, the Republican efforts, Mike Johnson's efforts at least to stonewall in the House had been successful. It was very much on the back burner. And
Yeah, how can Emily be so certain Satan isn't trying to trick us into turning God? turning us into one of God's strongest soldiers,
Roger and I were talking about this, and
or strongest soldier
what
Trump.
I said is, but this is the sort of thing that can erupt back into the public consciousness at any time because
Yeah, I
it's
read that wrong.
completely unresolved. And I think a lot of MAGA that were upset about
Oh yeah, and then you have Democrats picking the worst time to cave to
it
Trump.
first, kind of made their peace with it, kind of like bought into some convoluted, like, oh, actually Trump is playing the deep state somehow, or they're fake, or Clinton, Comey, whatever. They just were like, all right, we're just going to move on. When things like this come out, makes it pretty hard for you to just like close your eyes and pretend like nothing's happening here and pretend like this is all fine. Especially when you have a renegade voice like Marjorie Taylor Greene out there who is willing to make her own side uncomfortable for whatever reason she's doing it. She is that voice right now, willing to make her own side uncomfortable.
Yeah, notice how you're notice how you're kind of getting there. Can you you have somebody on the other side of this screen that has the ability to do that because they claim to speak from the left or the right wing perspective.
We talked about the MAGA revolt. When you have a president who was just weakened by an extraordinary electoral defeat for his
Breaking
party,
points,
really
more like kitchen conversation
across the board. He's effectively already a lame duck. At least is not legally allowed to run for another term, is aging very clearly in front of our eyes, sleeping through White House events at this point and outsourcing major parts of his administration to his aides, seems to only really care about like his parties at Mar-a-Lago and his renovations. When you have all of those sorts of things, then people start to feel a little bit bolder about their criticism and start to be looking at and contemplating, okay, well, what is the world after Trump going to look like? And where is the place to be? How to position myself in that world? So I think even as, Democrats just capitulated and bent the knee and are embarrassing and all of that sort of stuff, you also have Trump becoming increasingly sort of weakened in his own administration. Approval rating is very low. Some arrows starting to come at him from his own side, economic troubles. A lot of
Why does Emily always look like you just gave her bad news? Like, I don't want to use the overused term, but she literally looks like you just said, Emily, I have bad news. Your dog got hit by a car.
fulfilled promises.
Does her face not look like I just legit told her that?
And then you add this to the mix. It's a pretty challenging landscape for him, I would say.
Right. Yeah, I think after those elections last week, it's becoming clear to the administration that they're approaching
She has pound puppy face.
the 1 year mark. And after you get past that 1 year itch, as we've talked about Crystal before in the show today,
She does.
You can't keep blaming Biden. I mean, you can. But whether or not you're successful at continuing to blame the Biden administration or what you inherited, people are not going to buy it. And you are Mr.
Crystal, this is where you need to shut the fuck up. And I'm going to be honest here. You're not buying it? Great. You're not part of the fucking people that need to. We've always been on the side of, this is fucked. This is fucked. This is where, again, if you're going to use your platform, maybe, just maybe, get the people who and I'm going to say this again because I have to constantly repeat myself, apparently, is the people on the right on this show. Like, you structured your show this way, right? So Sagar and Emily are the ones that really need to be the ones kind of going like, this is really fucked up, guys. And it does nothing for you to just be like, this is problematic. And they're like,
drain the swamp. So as emails come out showing you part of a swamp, and then when you campaign, when you're not in power, it's easy to say, we'll release the Epstein emails, even though Trump was a little bit more hesitant about those than JFK files and such during the campaign. But when you're actually in power, you can't just say like, we'll get to that. You have to look like you're draining the swamp if that's the predicate for your political career. And that's where you see the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie breaking away from Trump on that particular question.
All right, guys, very fortunate on last-minute notice here to get Congressman Ro Khanna to join us this morning. Of course, he has been the Democrat leading the push to get the Epstein files released. Great to see you, Congressman.
She does look like someone took away her birthday party.
2 Breaking Point appearances in the same week. Must be my lucky week here.
She's sitting there with she's holding the piñata just all alone.
Our lucky week. Yeah, people were very interested in what you had to say last time. I have a suspicion they're going to be very interested in what you have to say today as well. So Emily and I just went through some of the new emails that were released tying Donald Trump directly to Jeffrey Epstein. First question for you is just, why are these emails coming out now? What was the sort of chain of events that led to these revelations?
Well, I was on Lawrence O'Donnell about 3 months ago, and the attorney for the survivors is the guest right before me. And he says, I don't understand why no one has subpoenaed the Epstein estate. And shockingly, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and no one in Congress had done it. So I talked to Comer. I said, we've got to get these documents. And to his credit, he subpoenas the Epstein estate. And the Epstein estate has been producing these documents drip by drip by drip. And today, of course, comes out.
To his credit, no. Stop with that shit. To his credit, he realized that if he didn't do that, that would be huge for you guys to constantly go on the news cycle and just be like, listen, they want to talk this big game. They haven't even subpoenaed the Epstein estate. Like, they understood that was a losing news cycle. So they were just like, you had Comer just kind of capitulate there and go, yeah, you know what? I think, this is a little bit. I don't think they're going to find nothing.
The first time some of the emails saying that Trump knew about the abuse of these young girls and the guilty conduct. And I expect far more documents are going to be coming out over the next couple months.
Yeah, I was speculating earlier that maybe these emails came from Michael Wolff or Ghislaine. Are you able to tell us anything about that, Congressman?
Not the specifics of who they're coming from, other than the Epstein estate, and that the estate has thousands of more documents. But what this really says is we've got to get the full release. We shouldn't be reliant on the Epstein estate to be giving us piecemeal documents. We have the full files at the Justice Department. Those files have all of the interviews that were taken with men who abused these young girls, with people who were involved in the cover-up. And today, as you know, Adelita Grijalva gets sworn in. We get 218 signatures, and that triggers a vote in 7 days in the House to release these files. The bombshell document dropped today, I think, is going to increase the stakes of just saying, get this out there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And just your reaction to what we learned today. So we had emails from
The biggest thing is to see some right-wing commentators kind of get behind like the idea of, oh, this is really bad.
Jeffrey Epstein saying,
but I just don't see it happening. Fox News was already trying to spin this to be something that it's not.
First of all, of course, Trump knew about what was going on with the girls because he told Ghislaine Maxwell to stop. He also claimed that Trump had spent hours with one of the victims. You also see him strategizing with Michael Wolff about a potential question to Donald Trump in the debates during 2015. Those questions didn't end up getting asked, but in any case, interesting to see them strategizing back and forth. You see them talking about how surprised they are that Trump hasn't been brought up in the context of Jeffrey Epstein in a more significant way, given their longstanding ties. So what is your reaction to the content of these emails?
Well, this whole Epstein class needs to go. The issue in American politics isn't left or right. It's, are you for working, ordinary Americans, or are you for this Epstein class? And this is what's so important about those emails. It's not just rich and powerful men who may have abused and raped young girls. It's a lot of rich and powerful people who knew that the abuse was going on and did nothing about it, and actually still solicited Epstein for funding and were friends with Epstein and just swept it under the rug. And what these emails show is Donald Trump was aware of what was going on, and that it was such a culture of abuse that people just thought, oh, this is just the way the world works. Well, their time is up. People are sick of it. Anyone involved in this stuff needs to move aside. We need to have a moral cleansing in this country.
And Congressman, just if this discharge petition goes through, as I think everyone can do the math and expect it to at this point, what ways might the White House and the administration have to wiggle around? Like, what do we expect potentially to see from them, assuming that they try to continue blocking access to some of those files? What could we expect in terms of their methods of blocking release?
Well, first of all, there's a full court press today to try to get one of these Republicans to drop before Adelita Grijalva gets sworn in at 4 p.m. I'm pretty confident they won't, but it's not done until 4 o'clock. And then Johnson has dozens of procedural motions. He can try to obstruct it. I mean, we could spend the whole day talking about the tools he has. The confidence I have, though, is that there are a lot of Republicans who do not want the discharge petition tool to be rendered useless. They want to use it to get a bill on banning stock trading. They want to use it to get votes on other reforms. So I'm hopeful the coalition will hold to say, no, you've got to bring this for a vote. Because if Johnson stops our petition from getting a vote, that will hurt Luna and Chip Roy and any Republican who wants to bring any bill using that mechanism.
Congressman, do you have any other plans to, public event awareness raising to sort of focus in scrutiny on the lack of transparency on the Epstein files and on the horrific abuse of these women?
We do. We have a press conference that Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I are planning next week. And a number of survivors from around the country are going to be flying in, some who have not spoken out before. You know, Mike Johnson keeps thinking, okay, if you just shut down Congress long enough, people are going to forget. But he doesn't realize that this story has gripped the American people. They know there was horrific acts that were committed. And I think when they hear from these women again, these brave women
Well, I didn't realize that the top to this was unscrewed, went to go pick it up and spilled all of it. That sucked.
next week, it's going to make sure that we have action and an overwhelming vote in the House of Representatives.
Well, please keep us updated as always, Congressman.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you for
you.
joining us last minute, Congressman. Great to see you.
Appreciate it.
Great to see you as always. Thank you.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign.
Now, though, pause that conversation to get back to this breaking news we just teased. Just moments ago, the House Oversight Committee released never-before-seen emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, which include correspondence between Epstein and his longtime co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, currently incarcerated on sex trafficking charges. Let's now bring in MSNBC Justice and Intelligence reporter Ken DeLay.
Yeah, it was full too, so I just lost a decent amount.
Ken, what have we learned so far?
Good morning, Jonathan. Well, look, the Epstein estate has released some 23,000 emails, and House Democrats have been poring over them, and they found some correspondence directly mentioning Donald Trump by name. They've released 3 of these emails, and they're quite interesting. The first one was between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein back in 2011, where Epstein wrote that Donald Trump spent hours at my house with an unnamed victim of sex trafficking, whose name is redacted in the email. And Epstein referred to Trump as the dog that hasn't barked. And then in a separate email years later with author Michael Wolff in 2019, Epstein said explicitly that Donald Trump, quote, knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. And then the Democrats cite another email with Wolff in 2015 where Epstein and Wolff
damn,
were
those
discussing
spells
if
are
they
really
could craft an
depressing.
answer
There's a
for
reason that my mood changed.
upcoming Donald Trump interview.
I was in a good mood before that happened.
And Wolff sort of suggests that Epstein has leverage over Donald Trump, saying if
And there was no saving it either. It fell on the carpet, and it just,
to the House, then that gives you
Republican witchcraft caused the spill.
valuable PR and political currency. Now, look, Jeffrey Epstein, it was a
We all live in a yellow submarine.
manipulative monster, and so
Jesus
you really
Christ.
can't take anything he says to the bank here. But
Is that Michael Bolton? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
this is important
This is the town
evidence that
of
people trying to
Jeffrey
understand
Epstein.
what Donald Trump's relationship was with Jeffrey Epstein and what his role was,
Oh,
and where
wait
he
a
was, and
minute.
did he go to the
I
House.
don't want to be
This is important evidence
associated.
that fills in some blanks on that picture. The Democrats believe there are more to come from these emails that have been
Oh, all that other stuff was happy yelling?
released by the Epstein
Yeah.
estate.
And we should note our friend Joyce Vance notes on Twitter just now, because she's also pouring through these emails, that one of them dates from 2011 when Epstein would have had really little incentive to lie, and it's well before Trump's political career, of course. So this is, Ken, the story.
Yeah, it's almost like we all know this. Fucking A! Let him sue you. Let him sue you. Because then Discovery. This is one of those situations where it's like, okay, if you want to play that game.
That Donald Trump just wants to go away. And he's done a pretty good job, I guess, of
Yes,
telling
he has.
MAGA influencers, hey, stop talking about
Yeah,
this.
no,
He
he's done a
kinda
great job at getting his base in line.
quelled that rebellion that we saw over the summer. There's a real belief that Speaker Johnson sent the House home when he did, in part to not talk about Epstein and not swear in that Arizona Congresswoman-elect who is going to provide the decisive vote. So a couple of things here. I know you're still going through the emails, but this is, and we
Really?
expect Johnson to do that swearing in later today.
Really?
There's gonna
Okay,
be
well,
more
that's
to
good.
come,
Okay.
right? And we should know
Apparently
Trump is-
TMZ, leave it to TMZ and the entertainment slop houses to have better reporting on this and more honest reporting on this and challenging the Republicans even more than the fucking mainstream media.
long since challenged the credibility of Michael Wolff on other matters, but we'll see. He's getting these emails from Epstein, too. What else should we expect?
Dude doesn't even know her name.
Not just
Yeah, good
potentially
job.
from these emails, but from what new
You know, this guy gets paid a salary.
material may still be coming.
Well, look, I mean, there's got to be more information that sheds light on Donald Trump's longtime relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
How much more do you need? We see it all. My God, they owned a fucking beauty pageant together. What in the fuck, man? Why? Why do you need this to be the the most concrete thing ever, just completely fucking laid out for you. But you can do the thing where you can report on Benghazi the way that you guys were for so long, even though it was like a Fox News push, but you still did the same thing. It's always so easy for you to just be like, well, this other politician, tut, they did this, and you know what? You guys shouldn't like it, but everything with Epstein is literally just like, we don't have enough information about this. You know what? Maybe we can wait for a little bit more. I don't know.
Whether it's incriminating to Donald Trump remains to be seen. But
fucking Ron Burgundy, yeah, he makes a better anchorman on this one.
It's got to be there in those emails and elsewhere in the files. And in fact, we know
even Ron Burgundy would just be like, holy fucking Christ, this guy's guilty.
That Trump was told that his name was in the quote-unquote Epstein files, the unreleased information from the Justice Department. Again, we've always been told that there's nothing in
there's no enforcement on certain people, period. I mean, look at this is MSDNC. MSDNC, they're so unfriendly to me. Fuck off. And late, God damn it. See, this is the saddest part is that this is where they are seriously the most cucked network ever, where like they play the Morning Joe bit and all this, where it's just like they do little tippy toes around it. Little tippy toes.
Incriminates others to the point where they should have been charged. That's what investigators have always said.
Yeah, because Republicans feed the machine, Dems always undersell and don't push. Yeah, but then people always look at them as feckless assholes that get nothing done. Why do you think they've earned that reputation?
Long before
it's not Republicans smearing. They did it to themselves.
This became an issue of controversy.
Fuck.
But you're absolutely right. As a political,
this is the shit right here that gets to me, because this is what gets me to look at my local Democratic Party and say, "Fuck you."
It's just so interesting because the MAGA world.
Serena's just like, maybe you shouldn't try to run for an official position.
Has long believed that there's a conspiracy.
I'll walk into one of these meetings. What the fuck is wrong with all of you?
What happened with Jeffrey Epstein? Well, now the people who have control of the material is the Trump administration, and so, but yet the MAGA folks have not turned their fire on Donald Trump personally.
It's almost like you're not offering any outrage for them to actually lock onto. You're not challenging the Fox Newses. You're not challenging the right wing in the way that they really need to be. It's all this fucking like we gotta play politics, people.
Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, the FBI director, for what they consider, inaction and not releasing these files. And so far, the Justice Department's position is we're not releasing anything more. But this, as you said, this is a live political issue. The interesting question is going to be, do these emails or does other information...
Yeah, they'll always protect him and Epstein. Yep.
...cause anyone in the MAGA movement to start turning their attention to Donald Trump and asking him what he's hiding and whether more information should be released?
Isn't that your job? Aren't you a journalist? Are you telling me that you're going to leave it to the stoner on YouTube that has, fucking... like 0.1% of the viewership to have better journalistic integrity and standards than you? Cool.
Please, Jonathan.
MSNBC Justice and
Meanwhile, I'm going to go celebrate this 420 so I can get high and fucking not be so bent out of shape from your bullshit here.
Intelligence reporter Ken DeLay. And Ken, thank you as always. John Heilman.
This fucking bullshit. Here's the brief on it. This is fun.
I have your statement about the new Epstein emails that have...
Let's just watch her for just that pause face of her like, oh, here we go.
been released by House Democrats. Separate from why you believe the emails were made public, can you address their substance? Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to...
That's, again, we've looked at the records and that's not why.
With the name of the victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Guthrie. And it was CBS's own reporting,
Actually, do not use Bible papers because they won't burn.
that recently wrote that Miss Guthrie maintained.
They use a very special polymer that makes it almost impossible to burn them. That's why, like, anytime you see that, everything burned in my house except for my Bible, it's like, that wasn't the Holy Spirit. That was Scotchgard.
And God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you.
Oh, you've been lied to? Yeah.
You should all go ask them after this.
I tried it.
Briefing.
I tried it with a Gideon's Bible when I ran out of papers at a hotel once, and yeah, it
of
did
why
not
they
work.
chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and is unfortunately no longer with us.
Oh, so it was Virginia Guthrie. So you're just admitting that was Virginia Guthrie that was with him for hours. Wow, that was a bad way to handle that. Also, what is with her lip? Is her lip about to fall off?
Mary.
Thank you, Galen. 2 questions on this. In the interest of transparency, why not just go ahead, release the full files
Botox isn't working for her, and honestly, she should have stayed away.
on Epstein, get this
God, isn't she only like, didn't she just turn 30? Like, fucking A.
This administration has done more with respect to transparency.
Fuck off! God damn it! The fact they can say this shit with a straight face and then nobody does what I just did is.
When it comes to Jeffrey Epstein than any administration ever.
This is how you know everything's a farce.
In fact, this administration, the Department of Justice, has turned over tens of thousands of documents to the American people.
Why not all of them then? Why are you guys doing all this, like this dog and pony show to make sure that we don't get it? What's with the Mike Johnson bits? Like, why are you doing the obvious thing here of hiding this?
We are cooperating and showing support for the House Oversight Committee. That's part of the reason you are seeing these documents that were released today, because of
I think it might be eating her. I think so.
the House Oversight Committee's and Republicans' efforts to get these out to the public. This administration also moved, the Department of Justice also moved to unseal grand jury testimony, which we know, unfortunately, a judge declined those requests. So this administration has done.
Yes, because that's exactly it. That was the smoking gun, not his private text messages saying, hey, you know what? Donnie's been quiet for a minute, but it does seem like he could still bark.
Done more than any. And it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now, they're talking about it all.
Grand jury testimony is nothing. I know.
All of a sudden, because President Trump is in the.
Well, I know this. Do the rest of the people in America? No. Is there a large contingent of people that will not only eat up this slop but continue to spew it out online like it's,
the Oval Office.
something that it's something that they know because, it's not that they just heard it and they're regurgitating it.
But when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about.
Jesus, it's every single one. It's every single talking point that I find on Facebook.
Because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire.
The thing is, this isn't, to any, half-witted person, this is not exactly a defense.
Entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C., and it is not a coincidence.
So by that logic, and this one always broke me, so you're telling me that they wouldn't have used this to win the election then?
Coincidence that the Democrats.
Really? They waited that long? Okay.
Leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat.
No, it's actually, this was one of the smarter things they did where they were like, hey, we need to get people paying attention to the Epstein stuff again. Let's drop this.
In the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
But given your
Reagan.
interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing
All
to
else
brief
fails,
members of
Biden did it.
Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to?
No, wait. So this is wild. They're just like, oh yes, we're so transparent. We will give you everything that we finally combed through, and there's a few redactions here or there, maybe a page or two missing, but we still did the right thing. We gave you what you wanted.
To sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns. That's a defining factor of transparency. Having discussions with members of Congress about various issues, and I'm not going to detail conversations that took place in the Situation Room in the press briefing room. Reagan.
Why? Donald Trump does it all the fucking time. Wait, now all of a sudden you're acting like what's discussed in the Situation Room is secret?
Question about the government shutdown. Thank you.
Yeah, just repeating transparency doesn't make it transparent.
I'm glad someone does.
First, on the government shutdown, the shutdown deal reverses the administration's reps, and it also prohibits more from happening until the end of January. Media that the U.S. is considering building a temporary military base on the Gaza border. Can you confirm these reports?
Engaged in it's not something.
A question about UK intelligence sharing regarding the drunken interdictions involving Venezuelan boats. How will that affect the U.S. military?
This job's getting to her, man. It is kind of funny to watch. At least we know that she ain't having a good time. I like that.
A lot of discussion about
She may lie a lot, but that's going to catch up to her, too.
We also talked about sending a Doge dividend. That didn't materialize. Should U.S. Citizens expect a $2,000 proposal? Is the White House committed to making that happen?
The White House is committed to making that happen, yes, and we are currently exploring all legal options to get that done. I don't have a timeline for you or any further details, but I can confirm for you that the president made it clear.
Yep, I 100% now believe the theory that Sam came up with, that he's going to wait for the Supreme, this means the Supreme Court has told them that they're going to rule against him.
He wants to make it happen.
That they need to prepare to roll back the tariffs. I'm telling you, man, this one is kind of showing the internalized panic that coming from the White House. So what they're going to do is they're going to use the decision from the Supreme Court and say, hey, look, this is the reason that we couldn't get you $2,000. Blame the Supreme Court. You know what? Not so supreme. I've had tacos more supreme than them.
So his team of economic advisors are looking into it. And
we'll give Trump
when we
that
have
lame
an update,
joke.
We'll provide one. Solon.
You said at the top that one of the costs of the government shutdown was that people missed their
Don't care.
To pay for SNAP benefits. That's
into any of those reserves to ensure that.
Mamdani, he said that he plans to reach out to President Trump and that, quote, this relationship...
All legal actions is a clever way to cover themselves. If they don't make it happen, just blame the courts.
Relationship that would be critical. Does the White House have a response to this planned outreach?
Just said that, though. First time chatter. Guy with a mean smirk. Well, I'm glad that you got a mean smirk, and yes.
the first time I'm hearing of it. I'll let the president respond
I didn't.
himself.
Hey, to be fair, I do not have my multi-chat on, and I did not see my Twitch chat until after I said the thing. So,
comment by Mr. Mamdani.
What up, Jehu? How you doing?
Schlossberg, the grandson of President Kennedy, announced today that he's running for Congress. He, in the recent past, has...
Me, Eamon, I know you've reported on some, and then go ahead.
Thank you. Some Democratic members of Congress have invited Britain's former Prince Andrew to testify on the Epstein scandal. I'm just wondering if President Trump thinks that former Prince Andrew should indeed come and testify to Congress on that.
I haven't spoken to him about that specific matter, but I can ask him and get back to you. To try to fix that system they broke. It doesn't make any sense to us, which is why the president said that's a completely untenable position. However, once the government reopens, the president, as he's always maintained, is absolutely...
The Epstein thing is going to end the Trump era. One can hope. One can hope. I mean, they really aren't doing themselves any favors the way that they always flounder. Here. All right, here is the written stuff about this. We're going to get one more update. I was waiting on this one. Wanted the majority report to put this out before I could release it. There it is. Oh, yeah, I forgot they had the little problem with the majority report earlier.
On CNN, they're just going to let the emails speak for themselves. And you can. Here is the first one. This is from GMAX. GMax1. That is Ghislaine Maxwell.
No, this is from Jeffrey.
At Peps, you make it as a character on Dark Brandon's channel yet? No. I mean, you guys can shout me out and then.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The first one
I haven't really reached out to him. Honestly, man, I've had so much going on in my life that if you guys want to help me out with that, shout me out to any other creators and have them reach out to me. I hate to do that, but it is really like I can commit a lot easier when it's just like somebody like, hey, can you come on my show at X time?
No, yes. The first one is okay.
That actually reminds me.
The first one on the thread. So we're going to read from the bottom up, I guess. Right. The first one is from Jeffrey Epstein. His email was G vacation. G, I guess. Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know what his middle name is. Vacation. To GMax. This is April 2nd, 2011.
All right, so now we know we know from the actual press secretary that victim is Virginia Guthrie.
Got a sweetheart deal from Alex Acosta, who was at the time the Attorney General in the U.S. Attorney's Office, I think it was, in Florida. And then
he's turning his base against him. Some of the loudest supporters are on X are turning against him. Really?
Subsequently became Donald Trump's
guy with the mean smirk. Who would? Do you have any good examples of like some of his, more ardent supporters that are starting to turn?
Labor Secretary. Just an incredible coincidence.
Also, Pam Bondi never looked into it as victims wanted her to when she took over.
Yeah. And so he writes to Ghislaine Maxwell, I want you to realize that dog hasn't barked is Trump. That the dog...
I keep seeing that one.
That
like the dog who hasn't barked, like that's going around. I just checked X and it's like almost everybody is saying the dog who hasn't barked, quote unquote.
Barked is, yeah. I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump.
From the emails, from a nonpartisan perspective, it looks like Trump knew about the girls, but it does not incriminate him as an abuser. The dog that hasn't barked sometimes means that hasn't exposed them yet. I mean, I know exactly what it's from. Like, it's from Sherlock Holmes.
Now, I think that's probably an idiom. I don't think he actually thinks that Donald Trump is a dog. He's just saying that somebody who...
If he was an abuser, they wouldn't have any worry about him barking, as that would incriminate himself.
Spoken.
Yeah. I think that was a general understanding that like all these people had was... Sure, Epstein had stuff on them, but they had just as much on him. Like, so it was kind of like the Ouroboros. But realistically, it was kind of like they all were thinking Game of Thrones style, just like, well, just in case I have to have my insurance policy here.
Is Donald Trump. And then it's redacted. The victim's name, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, those two things I'm still confused about.
Me neither. I can't decipher that. I'd be curious what the police chief had said, or I'm 75% there.
We'd have to go back and see what was going on contemporaneous in 2011. It sounds like there was like another
mutually assured destruction with trafficking.
Investigation, or some other controversy that was coming up during that time. And the person who hasn't been mentioned or has spoken is Trump. And this was obvious, not just to Jeffrey Epstein. It was obviously obvious to Ghislaine Maxwell, because she wrote back, I've been thinking about that. ... Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, too, there is a...
2011, well before he was even thinking about politics, like they said.
There is something else in this that I can't quite figure out why, but underneath his email is a...
this information, the information contained in this communication is confidential, may be attorney-client privilege, may constitute inside information, and is intended for the use and of the addresses within the property. It is in the property of Jeffrey Epstein. It stops right there.
Like a disclosure that you see when you get stuff from attorneys. The information contained in this communication is confidential, may be attorney-client privileged, constitute inside information, is intended only for the use of the addressee. It is the property of Jeffrey Epstein, unauthorized use. I mean, he's really covered his bases there.
That's in all my emails when I send for booking requests.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. But you should take off the part where it's Jeffrey Epstein's property, because people get really freaked out. That's why we have trouble booking people.
BrianVacation.com. That name used to have juice in this town.
Exactly.
My name used.
So, okay, that's 2011. Now let's jump to January 31st, 2019.
Yeah, might as well have your signature be the meme. Facebook is not allowed to use my photos.
And of course, Donald Trump is the president.
Man. I have a cousin that still to this day posts that crap.
And Michael Wolff is sort of canoodling around with him. Actually, let's do. I think we want to do the other one first. Yeah, let's do the one from 2015. So he's had a relationship with Michael Wolff at least since 2015. Michael Wolff, incidentally, absolute garbage man. 12/16/2015. This is. I
still don't understand. So we just saw a whole bunch of the mainstream media coverage. This is the first time that we're discussing the secondary emails here.
As Donald
and these are just as bad.
Trump enters into the race,
What
right?
is-
He's been in the race now in 2015 for about probably 5 months.
I feel like we're getting gaslit by a whole bunch of rich people that like somehow, some way they do have like sway within like the CNNs and the mainstream media where like despite the fact that they're reporting on it, they are doing it in a way where it's kind of leaving that little bit where it's just like, hey, you know what? This might not be as bad as you think.
And it's looking like he's going to win.
No.
Or at the very least, it's like looking like they're going to have a tough time. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they were planning this within the time of the debate too.
Tuesday, December 15th, Michael Wolff writes, I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in a scrum afterwards. So that may be after the debate, actually.
Yeah.
There may have been a debate. December 15th. We could probably check on that.
Yep, they're failing on coverage. Yeah,
And,
consistently they have.
So Wolff is
The
fishing.
one time that they almost nailed it where Guthrie's book was coming out and the victims got together and did their press conference in September.
Around for Epstein. And
Michael Wolff withholding information so he can release a book is coming off as major hinge point of American history. I mean, I don't know. At this point, somebody should subpoena Michael Wolff.
if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Says Jeffrey Epstein. Now, what this also indicates is like, it could be a completely academic exercise, right? Jeffrey Epstein be like, well, I'm completely out of contact with Donald Trump. I have no ability to actually inform how he would respond to this. But just, for a thought experiment, what would you suggest that I tell him to say? That was the presidential debate in Vegas.
There was a debate that night.
Okay. And then Wolff wrote back, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR in political currency. Now, why would that give him political currency? If it's true that he hadn't been on the plane or to the House, then why would that in any way, it might give you any type of political currency? That's weird.
Say it's the plane or the House, not and the House. So he's been to both.
Yeah.
You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it looks like he really could win, you could save him generating a debt.
Dude, this one's so damning. Again, I don't understand why they're not covering this one.
Save him from what? I mean,
crazy,
Epstein, I guess,
dude.
could say, like, oh, no, he never did. He never came. I never was friends with him. I didn't know him.
Friends with
And
Democrats.
then he would owe you a debt. Why would he owe you a debt if
Yeah.
you said that, if that was the case? That's so weird. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in the Trump regime. And holy crap, that's what he said.
Sounds like they know him.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Deny. I got it. So then 4 years later, I think by this point, Jeffrey Epstein is about to go to jail, right?
Yep.
Or
What was it, 2018? Wait, did he go to jail in 2017 or 18? Here.
January 31st, 2019. I think he's about to go to jail.
Oh, 19?
And Trump is out there. I would have bet you that there was a
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
July
July
6,
2019
2019.
Okay, so this is when things are heating up. Trump
And then
gets
when did he
asked
die?
about Epstein, I bet, and claims that he
August
asked
10th? Wow, he was only in jail for about a month?
him to resign from the club. And so,
Damn, dude. I don't know. That's even more sketch. And the fact is that Donald Trump was well into his presidency during this time, and these emails were being exchanged. I don't know, man. I'm dead serious about like subpoenaing Michael Wolff and just asking him some questions. Just like, hey, so
Epstein writes to Michael Wolff.
what were you insinuating here? Why? What's with the timing?
Mar-a-Lago. It could have been like regarding blank Mar-a-Lago. Then there's another long redacted thing, a whole sentence. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member, ever. So he was never a member of the club, ever. Trump probably made it up. I asked him to resign as a way of like pretending like they had a falling out. And then he says, of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop.
And the only reason that he was asking them to stop was because they were taking them away from Mar-a-Lago. At least that's the perception. For any Republican that is going to be out there trying to spin this as like well, you know what? If this does prove anything, it was the fact that he did kick Epstein out, and you know what? He did tell Ghislaine to stop. It's like, dude, he knew about it and he buried it for that long. He knew about it and he buried it for that long. Up till now, even he's not admitting it. So wait a minute. How does that make him virtuous?
He
Trump
asked
should be in
Ghislaine
handcuffs
to
right now.
stop
I mean, for
what
real.
about the girls. He's complained that they stole a girl. Like, I think he said that, right?
Virginia
Yeah.
Giuffre.
But
Gouffre.
he asked Ghislaine to stop, which
I
means
was saying
it was ongoing.
wrong for a long time.
And he knew it was ongoing. We don't know why he asked him to stop. Maybe he was just mad. Like, how come I keep hiring all these young women that you keep taking? But if he knows that Ghislaine is getting them, and essentially, like, I don't know what he thinks that Ghislaine is doing other than trafficking them. And he says, stop.
He's a real Bruce Wayne.
Not never do that again, but rather stop.
I'm calling
Stop
the cops.
Just stop it. Come on, Jeffrey, buddy. I need you to do me a solid.
Ongoing thing you're doing.
Yeah.
That I am aware of. We'll see if this has any resonance on the right. They've all been squawking about it for so long, and now they run for the hills. But we'll see now.
This guy's been talked about for years.
I'd also just point out, check out Drop Site, who is Murtaza and Hussein and Ryan Grimm have been doing really great work on the intelligence connections of Epstein at this exact same time. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's like pictures of him in the where was he? The Côte where
Côte d'Ivoire?
Yeah, was he in the Côte d'Ivoire?
Somewhere in Africa, I forget.
Yes, like negotiating some type of like I haven't read that piece, but
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
I mean, the fact is that one, the fact that it's a drop, number one, hilarious, but that should have been it for everybody to go like, what? Why would you say it like that? Dude. Like, that really came across like, I think you're hiding some shit.
I'm told by international socialist Sam, the dog that didn't bark comes from a Sherlock Holmes story. In fact, guard dog didn't bark is a key clue indicating that the intruder was known to the dog. Used as a motif to
Hounds of the Baskerville.
indicate lack of response, significant
Some of my
in
favorite ones.
understanding a situation or drawing conclusions. Epstein was a bigly into English lit and a former teacher of young girls. We will talk more about this, I would imagine, in the coming days.
Yep. I don't think this one's going away. I think that, honestly, with the government back in session, with them, because now you're going to watch them with the special election, which, did that happen? I'm still not up to that one. But, yeah, apparently there's a special election. From my understanding, the right-winger won, and they're now like, no, we have to confirm them immediately because they want that no vote, so it'll cancel out the 218, so then it just stays in limbo. But again, we're at this point where it's shit or get off the pot for the American public. Do you care about this or not? So are you going to just sit there and take it and just go, okay, I guess we're not talking about this anymore? It's almost like I want to know, just so it's like, how much more energy am I putting into this? Because I can sit out there all day with my sign saying Trump is in the Epstein files, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files. Hey, how about them Epstein files? But holy crap, man. Like, the way that they're already going to bat for him here, and then, yeah, you fear that that's what will happen? Yeah, me too. That's why I'm kind of like, how much more... Like, I can get angry all day at this, but this really does come down to a whole lot of Republicans got to get just as mad. Like, I'm sorry. You know what? I think that that was pretty much the Epstein stuff. We're going to go into this video about, like, why Trump and Epstein and all of these rich fucks are obsessed with beauty pageants. Yeah, I think that was pretty good. If you guys enjoyed this content, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out in the algorithm. And also, check out my live streams weekdays from Monday through Friday and special Saturday streams. I really appreciate you guys checking out the content, and I'll see you in the next one.